Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the summary for the day of 335 for the 24th of January for the Ukraine war, or the special military operation in Ukraine, according to the Russians. So let's start off with, there's a few very significant things today. So let's start off with the first one, which is Lukashenko suddenly say that there is this incident where the Ukrainians actually proposed a non-aggression pact between Belarus and Ukraine. So, but it wasn't really received very well by Lukashenko. Lukashenko said that he cannot understand why the Ukrainians asked them to sign a non-aggression pact, because on one hand they don't want them to fight, but on the other hand, all the actions around Belarus, like in Poland and Lithuania, which he say is generally crazy. So why do they need it? It's unclear. So he actually reacted badly. He said that we are forced to react harshly. Not exactly sure this translation exactly supposed to mean, but Lukashenko is extremely not happy with this. In probably what in Belarus eyes is a not sincere proposal from the Ukrainian side. And the Ukrainian side immediately, have this a very aggressive statement. They say that Ukraine warns Minsk against any possible further aggressive plans. For Ukraine's part, they confirm the absence of any aggressive intention towards Belarus. And I totally believe the Ukrainians, because they have no means of having any aggressive intentions against Belarus. That would be exactly totally stupid from the Ukrainian side. Should they try to do anything silly against Belarus, which will just expand the war, create a new front line, and just cause a tremendous craziness. I actually do not know how strong is the Belarusian military. How many tanks and stuff that they have. I haven't really gone and looked into it, so you guys may be interested to go and find out and see how bad it would be if Belarus go into war with Ukraine. And the big news over the past 24 hours is actually this amphibious assault by the Ukrainians on this fishing farm, Dnipro, north of Dnipro. So, according to Twitter sources coming from OSIN Technical, and also other sources that is currently covering the Ukraine war, they say that the Ukrainian SOF conducted a small boat raid across the Dnipro River in Dnipro, in the Kherson Oblast, targeting a forward command post. And according to Deep State UA, they say that it's conducted by the Ukrainian intelligence officer, and the house for the forward control point for the Russians was located and destroyed. And they also announced 12 Russian soldiers killed with some APC, and apparently captured one prisoner. So according to the video published, there's at least one Ukrainian soldier that is wounded. So this is more on the Ukrainian side of things, the kind of perspective. And for the Ukrainian Defense Intelligence of Ukraine, the DIU, they claim that the special is a special unit that actually carry out this raid on this fishing farm, and it's a night raid, and the special purpose group of the DIU, or the main directorate of intelligence of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, participated in this reconnaissance raid. And then so they say that there is a cooperation from the local guerrillas, and also with special technical means, whatever that's supposed to mean, probably satellite imaging or something, or drones, and they have managed to found the exact location of this forward operating base. I think one of these buildings here. And so they overcome the mines and fortification, and then entered into battle with the enemy. The scout destroyed the house, and then they landed, blah 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 blah. So then this is where they get the information about destroying 12 defenders, one APC, and captured one prisoner. So then we have the information coming out from Ryba, which is a bit different. So Ryba reported that at 5 a.m. the Ukrainians tried to land on the side of the river, and then according to the information that they have, there was on the opposite side of the shore there is actually territorial defense with 5 armored vehicles, and took up positions. I think on the private houses. Not exactly sure where it is, but then there was fighting between 2 of the armored vehicles was destroyed. 30 soldiers were also killed. The rest retreated. And then, however, the Ukrainians still tried to send 5 boats. So according to this information, there's 5 boats try to land troops. 3 boats were sunk on the approach, with the remaining eliminated near, which is kind of definitely not true, because we have the footages of the boats, also from the the cameras on top of the helmets of one of the soldiers. So we know that not all ships are destroyed. So we can tell that even from Raiba, the information definitely is not 100% true. And then the members on the right side, which is on the northern bank, was also hit. Up to 5 armored vehicles supposed to be hit. So according to the Russians, means that the actual operation is actually a lot bigger than what it seems. It's not just some amphibious raid, but it's actually more than that. It's actually there is actually Ukrainian forces being deployed on certain shores. I actually not sure, because they say there's houses, but I'm not sure. Maybe these houses. So maybe what happened is that the Ukrainian forces actually send forces down to this area here, and then the ships. Then we have the speedboats rushing towards this position, and the Russians actually fired back. Wrong color. Fired back and took out 2 of the ships. The Ukrainians still managed to land. And then fighting happens around here. They took out the house and then they withdrew. So according to the Russian story, there's bombardment on this area, taking out some of this supporting vehicles and whatnot, which it still feels a bit unlikely, because if you actually look at this entire region, it looks extremely difficult for the Ukrainians to just land troops on this opposite shore. It doesn't make a lot of sense to do that. Based on the kind of the footages that I saw, I don't really see there's a firing from the opposite shore to this side. The distance here, it is still within range. It's around 1 to 2 kilometers, so it is possible to shoot across, but it's unlikely because it's likely to cause friendly fire. What we do know is that there is artillery bombardments around this region, trying to hit the Ukrainian soldiers in defense, and also to try to hit the ships. Those shots, of course, might also be from infantry fighting vehicles. So anyway, this is actually to the Ukrainians a successful mission to take out the forward operating base, or forward command post. Whereas to the Russians, they view this as actually a failure, because it's kind of pointless. Because I also think that it's kind of pointless, because if you want to hit the command post, you can just artillery strike it, right? So why would you want to send your troops in? That's a lot of actions for very little. So anyway, they did catch a prisoner. So let's see if we have some videos of interrogation, or forcing this prisoner to say something stupid. So that's all from the Kherson Front, or the Southern Front. Okay, I think just call it the Kherson Front better. Over at the Zaporizhzhia Front, we have fighting at Novosilka, and Novosilka. The icons are screwing up. Wait a minute. Okay, back. The icons are now not broken. So what happens is that there is some clarification already, right? Because yesterday we do say that the towns become contested again, And we can kind of confirm that the Russians actually lose the positions entirely. They have fall back, and the Ukrainians have retook these two settlements. Same thing happens for Mala Tashmaka as well. The capture of Mala Tashmaka has been invalidated because Ryba themselves also say that there is reinforcement in terms of anti-tank equipment and grenade launchers being sent to Mala Tomashka, which means that the lines have pushed back again, meaning that the Russian advance in this region around Orikhiv has been as good as nothing happened. However, the Russians are still attacking. There is reports of the 58 Combined Arms Army trying to attack Avdiivka and Novosilka. However, there is no progress. It did not work out. Fighting is also reported at Sharifne, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. And there is also fighting reported over the Huaypole region at Shovene, as well as at Malinivka, according to Ryba. So the fighting is currently ongoing in these regions, and so the fighting they are trying to attack these directions, and so these are the parts. The Kayamsky situation remains the same because the Ukrainians, after withdrawing northward, so let me clear this again. So the Kayamsky situation is a bit different. The Ukrainians, after withdrawing up towards this area here, this northern part, they continue to exert artillery fires on the Russian side. So the Russians are unable to push forward, to push in like this. They are unable to do it. They are still mainly all around the outskirts, and they are actually using artillery to fire at the Ukrainian positions. So that is what is happening currently. Still a stalemate over at that region over there. So, and moving on to the Velyka Novosilka region, there is fighting reported at Novosilka, according to the Russian Defense Ministry, and the bombardments is also reported at Novosilka, according to Ryba, and as well as at Velyka Novosilka. So, I mapped this in because how they describe it is as massive fire on the position. So it seems like something is brewing around this region, given the size of the bombardment. So let's watch what is going to come next. Over at the Vuhledar region, the Russian forces have started a new attack against Vuhledar, with coming from Mikhailske and Pelivka, and also apparently this region here, this small building region area here was actually under Ukrainian control. The Russian forces have attacked from Mikhailske and captured this position. This entire position here has been captured. And not just this, there is also another attack from Shevchenko moving forward. And there's another attack also reported by the Russian Defense Ministry at Prashystivka, as you can see, is by the Russian Defense Ministry. So this area here is captured by this Pacific Fleet, and some operational combat tactical formations. They rush through this region here. So they rush through into this area here, and they captured this entire area here. So the situation, according to the Russians, reportedly sounds pretty desperate. The Ukrainians are very confused about the situation. They are kind of caught by surprise, which I do not believe. Sounds like misinformation to me. Because we do have 3 Ka-52 shot down over Yevhenivka or Yegenivka in the span of 30 minutes. According to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, this is the first time I ever seen them named by location of aircraft shooting down. They say that 3 Russian helicopters are shot down in 30 minutes. All are Ka-52s attack helicopters, all in the same region. So the helicopters flying in, flew in here and then got shot down. And then another one flew in here and then got shot down. Another one don't believe that in their luck, go again and then got shot down. So emotional damage for the Russians. So that's all from the Vuhledar region. Over at the Marinka region, There is fighting reported at Marinka. According to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, moving up in the Vodian region, there is also some significant news. There's some significant news. So the Russian forces have captured the region of Vodian because now the based on the information coming from Ryba, they say that so let me drag this down. How do I drag this down? Yeah. So based on the Ryba reported that the Russian forces have captured the high ground north, dominance height north of Vodian, and if that is true, which means that the Russian forces have actually pushed out of Vodian and managed to uh, create some kind of a security zone around Vodian, which essentially means the capture of Vodian. The latest mapping of the from Ryba also suggests that the front line is currently looking more like this. Maybe I should use a different color. The front line looks like this, and with the gray zone moving up all the way to this area here. Or no, I should actually just just like that. So anyway, so that's the situation over at Vodian. The front line over at this area also seems to have changed according to the mapping by Ryba, where the front line seems to have moved to this area here, with this entire area here being the gray zone. So that means the Russian forces have pushed out further from Pervomayske, and they are going to reach Netelove soon, or Netelov very soon at this rate. And over at the Avdiivka region, in the southern part, there is also fighting reported north of Spartak, according to Deep State UA. So this is part of a continuation of this possible pincer that the Russians might be attempting, because fighting is also reported at Krasnohorivka. According to Deep State UA, they clarify that the fighting at Krasnohorivka is indeed coming from Novosilka Druha. As you can see, Novosilka 2. So Druha is 2. So the Russian forces is moving this way. So sorry, not used to this okay, so not used to this annotation too. So this is the situation here around Avdiivka. Fighting is also reported at Novobakhmutivka, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, as part of the major offensive over in this region, where the Russians are actually attacking this way. So hope that helps. Hope you enjoyed the new arrow thing. But this arrow theme will be used for quick updates and SITREP. For analysis, I will still use back the Photoshop because that actually can allows me to draw nicer, and I can save it out as an image. So into the Bakhmut front. At the Bakhmut front, we have fighting reported north of Kleshevka, which I put the wrong color here, which is actually the Russians actually doing an attack northward towards Kleshevka. So yeah. So and further up in Bakhmut city itself, there is a Russian Sukhoi 25 shot down over Bakhmut. Other than that, the Russians are still taking the assault to the Ukrainians, which the fighting reported in the northeast. On the eastern side, the roads that is mentioned remains the same. The fighting is around Patricia Lumumbi Street, according to Deep State UA, and over at the Ryba, reporting on the northeast is still fighting reported at Sovkhozna Street. So, and on the southern part, we didn't have any information. However, we do have information coming from a footage that was actually mentioned by Deep State UA. We show the fighting reported in this area here, which means that the front line has actually moved forward. The Deep State UA mapping also shows that the front line is actually moved forwards now in this way. So there's fighting this way. Yeah, so this is how it looks like in the Bakhmut region here. So on the eastern side, So that's all from the Bakhmut city. Moving further up north, at Krasnohora, we have fighting reported at Krasnohora, according to Deep State UA, and they also say that the Russian forces come close to Paraskoviyevka, which means that they have been there for some time. Some rumors about some bridges being blown up in this region. I'm not exactly sure which bridge they are mentioning. There seems to be quite a few bridges around this area here. So I'm not going to speculate, so I'm not going to indicate it. From what we understood, there's already 2 bridges that was destroyed earlier in December. So not sure how many more bridges can they blow up. So that's all from this area here. Over at the Soledar region, yesterday I mentioned I'm not sure where is Vuhledar. So actually, or Vuhledar. So Vuhledar is actually this settlement here. So this settlement here, this is actually Vuhledar. So which is why there is this conflict between when I actually mentioned that the Russians shouldn't have captured the entire Soledar, because to me Soledar is like this, like this, the bra, there's the bra and the connection, and then the back of the bra. Yeah, so it's supposed to look like this, and this is actually correct. This is actually the official Soledar. This is actually how Soledar is supposed to be. But this area here, is actually included much later into as part of Soledar. This was actually previously a separate settlement. This is actually the village of Vuhledar. So which is why Vuhledar, after included into Soledar, now it looks like this. But the Russians never recognized any changes by the Ukrainians. So which is why when the Russians took this, they declared victory over Soledar. Whereas I was still waiting for this, to declare the capture of Soledar. So hope this helps. And so moving further up north, so this actually is not on dispute anymore. Fighting is now at Mykolaiivka. After the capture of Krasnopolivka, now the fighting is now reported at Mykolaiivka, according to Deep State UA. This was not mentioned by any other sources, only the pro-Ukrainian source was mentioning this. The entire Siversk front went quiet. There is totally no information about fighting along the Rozdolivka's Vesely Belohorivka region, which is kind of weird. And but there is fighting reported at Belohorivka, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. The Russian Defense Ministry is a bit cryptic about the Siversk front. They say that they continue their offensive in close to Siversk, and I have no idea what it's supposed to mean. Based on their mapping, it seems like there is fighting all along here, but it's very hard to tell because their mapping is like a PowerPoint slide. It's very hard to tell what is happening. So just take a pinch of salt. Understand that there is possible fighting all around the Siversk front. Bombardment was reported at Serebryanka, and moving into the Kreminna region, we have footages. There's a video footage coming out from the pro-Russian side, where a Russian BMPT, the Terminator, engaging the Ukrainian armor. So Deep State UA geolocated it to be here, around here, which means that the front line is actually pretty near. This distance from this icon to the city is barely 2 kilometers. So which means that the Ukrainians actually is pushing pretty close towards Kreminna, where they are actually around here already. They are moving very close to Kreminna, but the Russians are actually fighting back. They are actually pushing back against the Ukrainians and doing a lot of bombardments. And the BMPT looks incredibly powerful. This infantry fighting vehicle is a class of its own, and the kind of armament that they have seems like it can actually take out a tank on its own. So quite amazing to see it in action, really action rather than just them firing into nowhere. The video actually shows them fighting in the forest. Bombardment is reported near Dnipro, according to the Russian Defense Ministry, and I think that's all from the forestry area in the south of Kreminna. In northern part, there is actually some clarification in terms of where the front line is, because footages of the Ukrainians' presence in this location around this forest area here, drone footages showing that there's a BMPT, the BMP2 actually positioned around this area here. So which means that the Ukrainians are actually around this region. The deep state UA make it a point to remind their followers that the highway and the village of Chervonopopivka or Krasnopopivka is under Russian control. So this is actually a clarification by deep state UA to the pro-Ukrainian side, not to get overexcited, because there are some maps that show Chervonopopivka as contested. It's not. The fighting was never in the urban region of Chervonopopivka. It was always on the western edge of Chervonopopivka. So that's all from the Kreminna front. Did I miss any information? Okay, no. So moving up to the SITREP region, we have only reports of positional fighting around Novosilka according to deep state UA. And there is bombardment reports over at Berestove according to the Russian Defense Ministry. And over at the Kupyansk region, the only report coming out is actually bombardment at Timkovka. The region here otherwise seems to be very quiet. Do not have ground offensive being reported. So that's all from the summary for the day of 335 for the 24th of January. Hope you guys like this new edition of this arrow, this arrow thingy. So it helps. I'm a bit late to this game. But no, hopefully this helps you to understand the situation better and ignore these arrows. These arrows are all fake. It doesn't look like this. No. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next update.